I'm not sure if it's safe to talk about, so let's hurry up before a big trade happens again. Welcome in or welcome back. Really weird day in the NBA, if you ask me. I think some of these trades that happened today were expected, but not today. I kind of figured it would happen Thursday. I do want to get this video out in a pretty timely manner, so I'm not going to beat around the bush. The biggest trade that happened today was Jaren Jackson Jr. going to the Utah Jazz. The full trade is Triple J, John Conchar, Jacques Landale, and Vince Williams to the Utah Jazz for Walter Clayton Jr., Kyle Anderson, Taylor Hendricks, and George Niang, and 3 future first-round picks. Now, for the Grizzlies, I just think it was time. The Ja Morant trade is happening now, almost certainly. But shout out to the Memphis Grizzlies. They were able to turn Jaren Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bane into 8 future first-round picks. And I'm not positive what you could get right now for Kyle Anderson or George Niang. I think that those are going to be flipped later or potential buyout pieces. I definitely don't think they're going to stay in Memphis, but you were able to get a rehab project in Taylor Hendricks, who I still have a lot of stock in despite his catastrophic injury last year, and Walter Clayton Jr. is still a rookie. He is still on track to be a very good point guard in this league, and you got him for essentially nothing. The Utah Jazz are apparently way more comfortable rocking with Isaiah Collier than they are Walter Clayton Jr., so you really got him at a discount. Now for the Utah Jazz, this is a weird trade for them, but I do like it a lot. Let's start with the ancillary pieces here. Jacques Landale and John Conchar are both really solid role players, and there are so many pieces for this Utah team that I don't know how they fit exactly, but there is no such thing as too much depth. And I am sort of intrigued by Vince Williams Jr. He has had a couple games this year that have really intrigued me. I feel like he could be a great facilitator, but when you already have Isaiah Collier, I'm not really sure what his role on this team is. Probably something similar to what we saw in Memphis, just a solid backup. Come in, play some defense, facilitate a little bit, and just serve a role. But now, the big fish, Jaren Jackson Jr. There is a report out right now that the Utah Jazz are really in tune with the idea of running out a lineup that includes Lauri Markkanen, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Walker Kessler when he comes back, which is absolutely insane, by the way. Jaren Jackson Jr. operates best when there is a bruising big next to him, someone who actually grabs the rebounds, something that he doesn't like to do. But to run Lauri Markkanen, Triple J, and Walker Kessler, that's a lot of size. I don't know how that would work, but I am going to watch, I'll tell you that. And then you add guys like Kyle Filipowski, Bryce Sensabaugh, Keontae George, Isaiah Collier. I think that this team, while they probably won't be very good the rest of this year or next year, they're going to be good very, very soon. I can tell. I think Keontae George is a future All-Star. Jaren Jackson Jr. has been an All-Star and a Defensive Player of the Year. I think that they have some really nice pieces in Utah right now. And I definitely don't think that Jaren Jackson Jr. is this superstar type that's going to lead them into the next era of Utah Jazz basketball. However, if they get a little lucky in the draft, if they get AJ DeBansta, if they get Darren Peterson, I think that this team could be very good in a couple years. The next trade we have is a 3-teamer between Minnesota, Detroit, and Chicago, and the full trade is Jaden Ivey and Mike Conley to the Bulls, Kevin Huerter and Dario Saric to the Pistons, and Detroit is also going to get a 2026 first-round protected swap from Minnesota. Do you know how weird it is to see the Bulls operate and execute 2 pretty good trades for themselves in back-to-back days, no less? Very weird from them. I think every single piece of this trade has a purpose. I think that all 3 teams involved got what they wanted. For Minnesota, you had to give up a pick to move off of Mike Conley. However, that does give you a little more cap flexibility if you are going to go get somebody like Ja Morant or Giannis. For the Pistons, at least in the games that I've been able to watch them have this year, they have had a problem when Cade Cunningham is on and he starts to get doubled or tripled. He needs a release valve, and there have been good options for him. Last week, Malik Beasley was the guy. This year, he doesn't have a solidified guy. I do think the Pistons are very good. I think they need a little more firepower, so I don't think they're done just yet. I think that there's a pretty good chance they go after somebody like Michael Porter Jr. to give Cade Cunningham even more release valves. But if you can't go get someone like him, Kevin Huerter is a pretty good backup option. He knows his role. He's not going to overexert himself. He's going to be able to catch and shoot, and that's something that you want when you have a guy like Cade Cunningham on your team. And then for the Bulls, I'm fairly certain that you're going to waive Mike Conley. He's already on an expiring deal. Allow him to go sign in Memphis or whatever the case is. There is a disaster scenario, at least for me, where you keep him and you try to get him to mentor Ayo Dosunmu. I don't think that that's very wise. I think that it's better for you to just let him go. But this is going to fall off your books next year. And if you're going to buy low, this seems like a pretty good option for Jaden Ivey. I think people are really quick to forget that last year, prior to his injury, he was on a trajectory to win the Most Improved Player. He looks like a very solid piece to that Piston team, again, prior to the injury. And ever since he's came back, his PR hasn't been very good. His minutes have been up and down. His production has been up and down. He hasn't been very efficient. There are some things that you can control, and there are things that you can't. But if you're going to buy low on a player, Jaden Ivey seems like a guy to do it. He's super athletic still, a downhill creator, and with the trade that we're going to get to here in a second, adding that kind of variety to your team is going to be really beneficial for you. This does create a bit of a log jam at the guard spot for the Bulls, so I think another trade is coming. Sorry, Kobe White fans, but I really do love this trade for the Bulls. And honestly, I love this other trade for the Bulls. I just wish that the Boston Celtics weren't the victim. In the last trade of the day, at the time of recording this, the Bulls are trading Nikola Vucevic and a second-round pick to my Boston Celtics for Anfernee Simons and another second-round pick. And please indulge me as I complain as a Celtics fan. After I'm done complaining, we'll talk about the objective basketball truth, but I have to get this off my chest. The Celtics have had a weird season. Jason Tatum was out at the beginning of the year. We kind of figured that this was going to be a really down year, maybe 25 wins, 30 if we're lucky. But here we are, second in the East. Jaylen Brown and co. have played incredibly. I don't think that they have been playing so incredibly well that we could beat someone like the Pistons or the Nuggets or the Thunder, but we're still playing pretty well. And over the last 20 games or so, Anfernee Simons was a big part of that. He's been ultra efficient. He's been able to light it up. He has been able to lead that bench unit in scoring. He has been so good in his role that I kind of figured that he was going to be a mainstay. And then, of course, you start hearing the rumblings of the Celtics want to upgrade for a center. We were in talks to get Jaren Jackson Jr. at one point. We were in talks to get Zubac out in L.A. And then this Vucevic trade comes up in a timeline. And I'll be fully transparent. I, coming into this year, didn't think that a center rotation of Queta, Luka Garza, and Amari Williams, who is a rookie, was going to be able to get it done. But so far, it has. So again, because we're playing well and we're the second seed in the East and potentially Jason Tatum isn't coming back, I didn't see a whole sense of urgency need to go and get a center, especially one who plays very little defense, doesn't match a timeline, and overall, according to Bulls fandom, sucks. And yeah, the raw stats look fine. He grabs 9 rebounds a game. He shoots 38% from three. Like, that's fine in theory, but when you break it down, it really just doesn't make any sense. If we were just going to go to the end of this season and we weren't going to bring Anfernee Simons back, we would have freed up $27 million in cap room. We traded Anfernee Simons. Vucevic is on an expiring deal as well. He's on a $21 million deal. And there's a bunch of salary cap stuff that I really can't get into, and partially I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense why we would do this move at all. Jaylen Brown is playing great. Our center rotation is great. Plus, a lot of them are on very team-friendly contracts. Then we go out and trade for this center who we're probably not going to re-sign. And even if we wanted to, even if Jason Tatum was going to come back, I don't think that Nikola Vucevic is going to be the guy that puts us into championship status. As a Celtics fan, this doesn't make any sense. Even as an objective basketball fan, I don't think that this makes sense at all. If you were going to upgrade your center room, if you were Boston, you would have shelled out for Zubac. You would have shelled out for Jaren Jackson Jr. You would have figured it out. This doesn't make any sense to me. Now, for the Bulls, pretty good move in my opinion. Because if you asked any Bulls fan at all, they would tell you that Vucevic is not a good player, and you have been wanting him off your team for a very long time. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The way that your all's roster is constructed, I don't think that there are parts of Anfernee Simons' game that you'll actually enjoy. There will be times that he misses a rotation on defense, and you'll want to pull your hair out. However, the fact that he can light it up for 20, 25 a night, you're going to love that. Again, causing a logjam at the guard spot. I do like this idea, though. This is another flyer. You can take a low-risk swing for Anfernee Simons, and worst case scenario, you can trade him for something else for a sign and trade down the road. He is putting on an audition the rest of this year, showing what he can do again as potentially a starter, or if he's just going to commit to this sixth man bit, whatever happens for you all, you could flip him for something down the line. I know it. The Bulls over the last couple of years have been pretty famous for not making any moves, and for them to make 3 separate moves in the last couple of days is very weird, but I'm pretty happy for you guys. In a vacuum, I like all 3 of these trades. Again, Jaden Ivey, I think that he could still be a star in this league, truly. He has things to work out, but if you allow him an opportunity to work those things out, I think it's going to prove dividends for you. And then for Mike Conley and Anfernee Simons, worst case scenario, if it doesn't work out, you are freeing up $37 million next year. There are going to be countless trades between now and the deadline on Thursday. I did want to hop on and talk about this, though, because I thought the timing was weird. And who knows, if there's a demand for it, maybe we do an entire trade deadline recap on Thursday. You got to let me know, though. So if you're interested, leave me a comment. While you're down there, check my description. I have a link tree with all of my socials, Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, literally everywhere. I also have a Discord community that I would love for you to be a part of. That's going to do it for me today. Be kind. Tell somebody you love them. We'll see you in the next one.
Barely scraping by. Trying to stop puffing. I'm trying to be one of the greats.